Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Danny Steele.
Hello, how are you? Hello, front row. Hello, high five. Yeah, you're all looking lovely. How are you doing tonight? You all right? Yeah. Good. Oh, it's nice to be here. It's nice for me to be. My clothes are here. That's why it's nice to be here. And feel free, by the way, to shout anything out. Anything at all. Yeah, feel free to shout. I'll just reply. Feel free to shout anything out. Ask any questions. Perhaps come up to the front to be touched. If you have any ailments that need healing, bless you. There you go. It's too late for that, man. So yeah, it's all good. You're all nice and dolled up tonight. Thank you so much for coming. All nice and dolled up, which I like. I like that. That's very smart dress. Although, not quite as nice as the last time I did a stand-up gig here was about 3 years ago. And there was a Star Wars themed stag and hen party in, and you know all the men had Han Solo outfits on. All right, stay with it. It's worth it. All the women were dressed up like Princess Leia. And they formed a guard of honor with their lightsabers from the door to here for me to walk under as I made my way to the front of the stage. And when I finally did make my way to the front of the stage, the entire front 2 rows had Darth Vader helmets on with different letters painted on the top. So when they actually bowed down, it actually spelled out, "We welcome you, Danny." But I appreciate you clapping, but I'm just saying. So that's it. So relationships. Who's in a relationship here? Anyone in relationships? Hands up. Yeah. Yay, relationships are cool. Anyone about to break up with someone? See, it's weird actually. I've been thinking about this. The best way to break up with someone is it's never easy. It's always a sad time to break up with someone, isn't it? It's never easy to say, it's not, it's not me, it's you. Don't ever say that. But it's never easy. And I've been thinking about this. The best way to break up with someone is to make them leave you. Okay? Now you need to play your part in this, all right, as responsible adults. What you need to do is, in order for that to happen, you need to go out and you need to buy unconventional quantities of cheese. I'll go over that again. You need to buy unconventional quantities of cheese. I'm just off to the cheese counter, and you go to the cheese counter, and you come back with a cube of, what do you mean there's not enough cheese? What do you mean? You want more cheese than that? You want more cheese than that? So greedy. So you go for a second time to the cheese counter, and you come back this time with 2 teeny tiny cubes of cheese. You show your partner, look, I've got some cheese. I've got some little tiny cubes, plenty of cheese. And then, more, really? So demanding. For a third and final time, you go to the cheese counter, and this time you definitely do come back with a complete unconventional amount of cheese. Say maybe enough cheese to maybe fill your hallway and your kitchen. Darling, I've got some more cheese. Where are you going with your case? So that's the best way, in my opinion. I love surprises like that, you see. I love a good surprise. It's only me drinking a carton of Duke, but if you find that funny, that's amazing. I'll just sit for the next half an hour and just drink that. It'd be brilliant. I love surprises like that. And basically, my girlfriend, now my wife, she bought me a surprise a few years ago. She bought me one of those presents. It's like presents that, those little presents that name a star after you. You ever see those things? Name a star after you presents? You see that? Yeah? And you got one. I don't know who that is, but someone's got one. Yeah, any good? Fucking rubbish, aren't they? Absolute shit, right? Listen, if you think about buying one, don't, right? I unwrapped it. It was all very, thank you so much for buying me this. It's so kind, so romantic. It's lovely. So kind. Name a star after your name. It's got a little map there, a little map of the solar system. Name a star. Should we go outside and have a look? Should we have a look? Yeah. And you go outside and name a star. Maybe it's... No. Huh? No, it's a plane. Fucked if I know. Should we go back inside? Yeah. Actually, I had the ultimate relationship test a couple of years ago, and I think, the test was going shopping with my partner for a household appliance. Okay, and it's trickier than it sounds, ladies, right? Because I think I speak on behalf of the majority of guys here when I say this, but my wife said to me the 7 words you never really want to hear out of the mouth of anyone. She looked me in the eye. a few years ago. She looked me in the eye and she said, let's go shopping for a vacuum cleaner. Previously, my method of going shopping for a vacuum cleaner involved walking into the shop and saying to the guy, hello mate, which one of these, when switched on, sounds most like a lightsaber? Am I wrong? No, exactly. She wanted one that picks up dust. I mean, what can you do? Let's go shopping for a vacuum cleaner. The 7 words you never really want to hear out the mouth of anyone, really. Apart from those teeth marks will go down. Eventually. Okay, good. So listen, we're in Who Wants to Belong to Weird Club? Give me a shout. Fucking hell. I said, who wants to belong to Weird Club? Give me a shout. Who? Anyone? Yeah? Fucking hell. All right, who wants to be? Yeah, that's better. I like that. I've got some badges made up. Who wants a Weird Club badge? Yeah, they were talking about having a Weird Club badge, front row. I can't see, so I'm just going to throw like that. Who wants a Weird Club badge? Anyone wants a Weird Club badge over there? Someone over there who wants a Weird Club badge? Someone over there, and someone over there. We go. Fantastic. I had these badges made up, and little badges there. If you're thinking about where your money's gone on tonight, these ain't cheap. I know, these are fucking £4 each, these things. I'll tell you about that later. But you know, I shaved my wife, and I shaved my wife? I didn't shave my wife. I showed my wife. That's another story for another night. I showed my wife. Yeah, thanks. And I showed my wife, and you know, she's always got this way about her of, you know, she wraps up an insult in a compliment. Do you know what I mean? I showed her, and she was like, "Oh, that's great. That's great, little badge there. That's really nice, Dan. That's really good." Yeah. She said, "That's the good thing about comedy. It doesn't have to look slick." Thanks very much. Actually, with these badges, if you've got one, you'll see the word "weird" is actually in bold there. And you know, if you're telling your friends tomorrow about the show, because there are tickets left on Sunday, if you're telling your friends, you know, come to the show on Sunday, come to the show, and your friends said, "Oh, how was the show, Danny Steele and Al Cowie? How was the show?" And you say, and you're standing there with your badge on, you can't think of a word, you can just point. Weird. Just point. Of course, what we don't want is this, actually, when someone asks you, how was the show last night? How was the show, Danny Steele and Al Cowie? I hear there's tickets on Sunday. Is it worth going? Yes. Is it worth going on Sunday? Is it worth going? You can just go, that. We don't want that hand. We don't want that. We want that. We don't want that. No good ever came of doing that. So as part of the promoting the show, I've had to do a few press interviews over the last kind of few weeks or so. I've had to do a few radio interviews. Here I am in one of the papers. Picture of me there. Thank you. I'll read it out to you. Former nurse finds laughter really is the best medicine. Right. First of all, you do not take your medical advice from the Islington Gazette. If you are after best medicine, I'd go and see a GP or a senior pharmacist. But I'll read it out to you. It's the first paragraph that I find the most upsetting. Funny man and trained nurse Danny Steele has no regrets about swapping his needles for a microphone to bring laughter to Camden. Has no regrets about swapping his needles. I sound like an ex-junkie. Maybe I am. It gets worse. Danny, 34. They got that wrong. Originally trained to be a nurse before he realised that his true calling was to make people laugh with his, and I quote, they put this in speech marks, but I didn't say this, with his sweet face and dark mind. So, not only am I an ex-junkie, I'm also a psychopath. Thanks, Islington Gazette. Last week I had a phone interview with a newspaper over in Boston. Yeah, that's right. Boston is in the USA. Yeah, well done. And I had this phone interview with a newspaper over in Boston, and around about this time of year, a lot of people, a lot of Americans, a lot of producers come over, a lot of directors come over. They look at talent. My agent's in tonight, so I'll say that again. A lot of directors, a lot of producers, they come over, and look at talent and everything. And you know when you're kind of talking to someone on the telephone and you're kind of get a sixth sense thing, you know, but he didn't really quite understand. I didn't think he got the impression what I was talking about the festival, about everything. And I was kind of talking to him, I was saying about the show, I was saying, you know, other people's weird, you know, Danny's doing Al Cowie, you know, Star Wars, you know. And I kind of thought he didn't really understand. And then he said to me, he said to me this, he said, well, yeah, when I come over, I'll just have to buy a new one when I'm over there. Sorry, what? He said, well, you know, my wife's been telling me to get a new one for ages, but when I come over to London, I'm just going to have to get a new one when I'm over there. I had no idea what he was talking about. So I asked him to email me the headline of the story he intended to run. Actors in Fridge Festival. Fuck it, let it run. It's fine. I don't know, you might have seen this sign when you walked in. Big story in the news today. What an absolute rip-off. That's all I can say. Yeah, thanks. So listen, a lot of people ask me about where I get my ideas from, you know, and from my stand-up and stuff. And I kind of say to people, you know, start from childhood, and you know, childhood can be a very lonely place. Can't it really? Childhood. A lot of people would say, you know, they wouldn't admit to having quite a lonely childhood. I mean, I would. I would admit to having a lonely childhood. I would. But then, of course, problem was I didn't have anyone to admit it to. So that's my issue. But when I was about 6 or 7. My dad used to sell insurance door to door. He used to go to people's doors, sell insurance to them. Very honourable profession. People used to come to our house and buy insurance. And one guy that used to buy insurance, one guy used to come around the house, was a guy called Dave Prowse. Does anybody know who Dave Prowse is? No? Okay. Who was Dave Prowse? Thank you, Darth Vader. Dave Prowse was an actor. He played Darth Vader in Star Wars and the Green Cross Cobra, and that's it. But he's an amazing guy, and you know, I love Star Wars. I've always loved Star Wars. It's an amazing program. I'm a very kind of sci-fi type person. I'm kind of quite geeky and everything. And you know, and I was really excited. Dad told me, you know, Dave Prowse, Darth Vader's coming around, and he's promised to bring you like a signed toy and everything. Amazing, I love that. But he said to me, he's not coming round until you've tidied up your room. Fair enough. That's okay. So my room has never been tidier. Clean my room, and for kind of an added bonus, I even cleaned the bathroom. You know, and I was cleaning the bathroom, washing the taps and stuff, and cleaning the bathroom. I just opened the bathroom cabinet. There was all these air fresheners that I thought, just in the bathroom cabinet. I unwrapped them, all those air fresheners, and I put a few around the sink. You know, wanted the bathroom to smell nice in case, you know, Darth Vader wants a wee, some kind of Darth wee. Do you know what I mean? That he does. And put a few there, and I had loads of these air fresheners unwrapped and left over. I thought, well, I've got to do something with them. So I went into the house and I kind of put them on the kitchen table and stuff, and Dad would be working there, so I wanted the place to kind of smell nice. And then, you know, we had a couple of dogs. It takes the smell away from the dogs. And then I put some on top of the telly. And then I thought, well, they've got the hallway now into the front door and everything. So I just wrapped a few, tied a few on door handles, all these air fresheners and stuff, and put a few on the floor. You could say it was overkill. You could, but actually, do you know what? It was. You know, I wanted the place to smell nice. It was okay. The only place, crucially, I didn't put these air fresheners was in Dad's study because he was working in there. That's fine. But everything else, it was like a, you know, air freshener all over the place. So then Dave Prowse knocks on the door. He does 8 o'clock or something, whatever time it was. I open the door, quite excited. He's standing there, big guy. He's got a toy under his arm, and looks at me. Looks at my dad, who's coming out of his study. Both men simultaneously noticing loads and loads of unwrapped tampons that I had placed on door handles, on the telly, on the kitchen table, on the floor. I didn't know they weren't air fresheners. I was only 6. I had no idea. It was 1980. They kind of looked different then, and I don't know what was going on. You know, so even now it's like, oh, what is that? An air freshener? Is it a tampon? I don't know. Don't tell me you've never had that conversation in your head. Is that an air freshener? I don't know. But Dave Prowse is an ultimate professional. I looked at my dad, and he looked at me and looked at all these tampons that I'd left. He looked in my eyes, and he just said one word. He just said, impressive. Now, for my hero to actually say a line from Star Wars to me, it was just like amazing. And that's my Star Wars story. My dad actually is when I was about 6 or 7, I also loved the idea of Disneyland. Who's been to Disneyland here? Yeah? Disneyland, good, yeah? Yeah, you like it, yeah? Yeah, might be. Yeah, all right. I love the idea about going to Disneyland, and I was about kind of 6 or 7. I wanted to go to Disneyland, and my dad one day he sat me down before school. He said to me, son, if you pack your case tonight, after school this afternoon, I'll drive you to Disneyland. I'll drive you to the airport, and we'll get in a plane and we'll go to Disneyland. Nice, isn't it? Should have seen my face. Wow. Amazing. I was really excited at school that day. I was really excited at school, and I was telling all my friends about it, telling my teachers. I took their skepticism, by the way, just for jealousy, even though I didn't really know what those words meant at that age. And 3:30 came. The bell went for the end of school. I ran out the school gates. I got into the car. My case is next to me. My dad had parked the car. We drive out of London. We drive on the motorway, down the motorway, singing Disney songs, and I fall asleep in the car. And when I wake up, my dad has parked the car at an old disused, burnt-out warehouse just off the M25. He gets out of the car and falls to his knees. Oh, fuck, Disneyland's burnt down. Shit. Fuck. Should have seen my face, 6 years old. I cried and cried on the way home, but I think deep down, he thought it was a pretty good joke. So I'm an actor now, but I trained as a nurse originally. But when I was a kid, I wanted to be a firefighter. Firefighters, when I was a kid, was quite a cool profession to do. Driving the truck or putting out fires. But I stopped the idea about wanting to be a firefighter when I heard the phrase, "Let's fight fire with fire." I don't know if you tried it. Fucking difficult. I started my nursing training in 1995 in Greenwich Hospital in South London. That hospital is now closed down. It's now a block of flats, a Costa Coffee, and a Tesco Express. That's nothing to do with me. But I could see the signs years ago when I worked there. The writing was on the wall, literally. I used to pass this sign every day on my way to work. Greenwich Hospital, warning. Guard dogs operate here. Got fucking Alsatians doing their surgery. Ain't going there. Speaking about surgery, anyone watch Grey's Anatomy? Grey's Anatomy fans in the audience? Yeah, love Grey's Anatomy. Yeah, sexy doctors, sexy nurses. Everyone's sleeping with everyone else. Doctors sleeping with nurses in Grey's Anatomy. Nurses sleeping with patients. Patients sleeping with doctors. A high shagging factor. Can I just actually let's just nip this one in the bud right now, for the sake of realism. All that shagging, right? It absolutely, totally happens, okay? Totally. It's up there, right? That's the difference between, something like, I don't know, Grey's Anatomy with its Hollywood cast, its gorgeous good looks, its high shagging factor, and something like, I don't know, something completely unrealistic like 24 Hours in A&E. You watch that and you think, oh my God. No. Every single episode of 24 Hours in A&E, some motorcyclist knocks over someone on the South Circular. Boring. But I worked in A&E in St Thomas's Hospital for about 6 months. And what I'd like to do now, a bit of audience participation. Can everyone just stand up, please? That's what I'd like. Everyone just stand up. Thank you. Now, thank you very much. Now, sit down if you've never put anything up your bottom for pleasure. The entire front row has stood standing. And this gentleman is standing as well. Round of applause for this man here. What if you put up your bottom for pleasure? That's your business. Absolutely. That's really, and I'm pleased it's your business. That's fantastic. You had fun, and that's great, and that's marvellous. But every single day when I was in A&E in St Thomas's Hospital, people used to come and put things up their bottom. Basically, here's my little bum guide. The most popular things people used to come in with: lighters, can of Coke I saw a few times. Squash balls were quite popular, and mobile phones. Weird enough, they started out big, didn't they? Then they got small. Now they're big again. I'm not saying anything, but I remember actually one time, actually, true story, a taxi driver came in one week. He came in one day, and he said to me, he had a half pint glass stuck up his bum. Yeah, a half pint glass up his bum. I said to him, how does that even happen? How does that even happen? How do you do that? How does what? I swear is what he said to me. He said, well, I was having a drink in the pub, and I don't know, I must have just fallen over. What? Actually, on my last shift at A&E, actually, this woman came in. I remember actually this businesswoman came in on the very last shift in A&E at St Thomas Hospital about 10 years ago, whenever it was. She came in and with a perfectly intact light bulb stuck up her bum. Bulb in first. Now that's a party trick. Be honest though, who hasn't thought at some point, that spare light bulb in the drawer? It ain't going to be used, is it? I worked on maternity, actually, for quite a few months. Maternity was interesting. Has anyone got any children here? Anyone ever given birth? Yeah? Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Maternity was interesting, but I'll tell you why. Because the manager of the maternity ward, a bit of an idiot, but he wanted us to film the birth to give a copy to the parents afterwards. Okay? Now, as you know, giving birth is quite possibly the most stressful thing you'll ever have to go through. There's blood, baby, placenta, tears all over the place. And he wanted to capture that permanently on film. Sicko. I can see the advantage about filming the birth, though, and that's waiting. Waiting until your child is older for them to ask you, Daddy, where did I come from? Make yourself comfortable. Got a 17-hour DVD. Of course, actually, if your child grows up to be a bit, philosophical about life, they might ask you, Daddy, how was I created? You go, that's a different DVD. Go get the tissues. Don't do that. Don't do that with your kids. Seriously, that's just, not very often. Actually, where have we got now? There we go. Now, I was out shopping actually last week, and I got into a fight. Last week. I don't get into fight. I'm quite a passive person. I got into a fight last week, and I was in B&Q. I was in the garden centre bit of B&Q, and I got into this fight, and it was the other guy's fault, really. I mean, I didn't know he worked there. Fancy having a job where you go up to strangers and you ask them if they want decking. Saw Michael J. Fox in there, in the old garden centre there. Michael J. Fox, Hollywood actor. Saw Michael J. Fox there in the garden centre bit. I saw him. I didn't see his face, but I knew it was him because he had his Back to the Futures, I won't use that one on Sunday, but you can still tell your friends to come. I went to a hat shop this week. And I wanted to buy a hat. I've got loads of hats at home. I wanted to buy a hat. So a hat shop just opened, literally just kind of around the corner from us. It's just called The Hat Shop. And it said, we only sell hats. And then underneath it listed all these hats that they sold. It said, we sell deerstalkers. We sell fezzes. We sell top hats. We sell baseball caps. We sell cricket caps. We sell tams. We sell straw hats, we sell beanies, we sell muff boxes. We only sell hats. I walked in, the guy said to me, are you looking for anything in particular? I'm looking for a hat. That's what I'm doing. Hey, I don't know. So, where we go? Okay, so when I left nursing, I had an interview. Quite a few charities. One of the charities I had an interview for was the RNIB, the Royal National Institute of Blind People. And the guy said to me in the interview, he said to me, how can we here at the RNIB, how can we prove our service to the country, to the country, to Britain, how can we improve our service? And I said, well, I thought about this, and I said, well, there'd be a lot less litter in Britain if blind people were given pointed sticks. I worked there for 2 years, so So I'm going to finish very shortly, actually, but just before I do, I'd like to talk about reincarnation, which is basically, I used to talk to a lot of my patients about reincarnation. I used to work on a lot of the care of the elderly wards. I used to talk about reincarnation. And basically, if you don't know about reincarnation, when you die, your soul or your spirit gets reincarnated into another living organism, like for example, a tree, which is very nice, like a tree or something. But here's my first question to God, and I think he might be in. I'm not sure. He might be in tonight anyway. Here's my first question. Is reincarnation a gradual process? Or is the second you pop your clods, you get reincarnated into, a tree or another human being? Or maybe even a gazelle? Now, I don't know about you, but I'd really, really hate to come back in another life as a gazelle, because they're the ones who always cop it on those David Attenborough programs, aren't they? Guaranteed. You watch them, they're all the same. It's always the same voiceover by David. It's drinking time down by the river. Camera pans across the river showing hundreds and hundreds of thirsty gazelles having a drink. Then stops at one who's just a little bit away from the rest of the herd and limping. And you're on your sofa at home and you're watching this and you're thinking, he's at it. It's him. He's at it. It's like Animal Bingo. The Radio Times used to play the pictures of like caribou and gazelle and wildebeest, just a tick off every single week. That's the stag ticked off this week. Back to David and his voiceover. But the gazelles aren't the only ones to come to the river for refreshment. And it pans up a bit to reveal 24 hungry lions. Now, if you get reincarnated as a gazelle, it must be even more rubbish, because you know what's going to happen down at the river because you watched those programs when you were a human. That makes sense, yeah. If that's me, if I ever get reincarnated in years to come as a gazelle, I'll be like, what's that, lads? Off for a drink? Down by the river? Are you fucking mental? That completely pulls that up. Anyway, please put your hands together. That's the end of my set. Please put your hands together for the wonderfully brilliant Mr. Al Cowie.